and go from there.
Hey everybody, this is Bradley Boner with Semantic Mastery. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts for April 4th, 2018. This is episode, 178, I think, right? Yeah, that's crazy. So we've got just Marco and Hernan on with me today. What's up, guys? I'll start with Hernan. I see you first. What's up, Hernan? Well, maybe Hernan is muted or something. He's not replying. So, yeah, I see you playing with your mute button, man. All right, when you get on, just jump on in. Marco, what's up, buddy?
I'm excited, man. I really am. We have just so much awesome stuff coming down the pipeline. I wish I could give people more details, but you know, I like to have it fully tested before we even start, like dropping little hints at what we're doing. You know, like local GMB Pro, we've got that in the works already, so we can talk about it and how you can just rank in the 3-pack with. I mean, the stuff that you have to do is so simple, but it's the complexities in figuring it out, right, and putting it together in a way that it just works time after time after time. Because the idea is it shouldn't work for just one person. It should work for everyone who tries it. And so I'm just really excited about that and all the other stuff that we're into.
Yeah, I know we've got a lot cooking as usual. I'm a bit overwhelmed as usual. As far it looks like Hernan's having some issues, so he'll jump in when he can. As far as announcements, Adam typically does that. So I do want to mention one thing, guys. If you're new to Semantic Mastery or to Hump Day Hangouts, we often you're free to ask questions here, but also just know that you can also check out our knowledge base, which is at support.semanticmastery.com, because we have a lot of frequently asked questions that we get over and over again that we answer there, which a lot of the times we'll have a text-based answer as well as a link to one of the video responses to an answer that we've given on Hump Day Hangouts or something like that. So make sure you check out support.semanticmastery.com if you have any questions. Also, feel free to post your questions on the events page. And besides that, what else? Other announcements do we have?
Yeah, the battle plan is coming, man.
Yeah, that's right. This month.
V2.0. It's almost done, as far as I know. Hernan is putting the final touches to it, and I think it's going to be awesome. There's a lot of new content being added, just new things, new ways. You know, as we find new things, we share them. We give you it's a guide. It's a guide on what you need to do to get started. So it's like a blueprint. It's really simple, and so that's coming. The RYS DF done for you book is coming out, right? The user's guide. I'm still waiting for that to be finished, to be formatted. As soon as that's done, we'll be sharing that. So yeah, we got quite a few things. But the battle plan, that's a really good thing. I really like our battle plan and how it sets everything out in a simple to follow fashion.
Very good. All right. Well,
and one last thing before we go into questions, please. We don't usually do this, but I'd like to ask people to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so, man. Because we hardly ever ask people to go to our channel and subscribe, but we have a ton of information in there.
Yeah.
All our videos are time-stamped. I mean, just hours, hundreds of hours of free content in there for you to get started and find what it is that you're into and start doing it the right way. So please go subscribe.
Yeah, it looks like we just crossed the 5,000 subscriber mark within the last 28 days, guys. So that's really, really cool, and we certainly appreciate that. Because that's pretty much all organic growth over the last several years, just from doing these Hump Day Hangouts and constantly producing video content. So, and it's interesting, but looking at my video dashboard for Semantic Mastery channel, we've got 2,086 videos in our channel. So obviously there's a percentage of those that are unlisted or private, but that's a lot of damn videos in our channel. It's crazy. So anyways, yeah, please subscribe to our channel, guys. That would be awesome. All right, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and grab the screen and we'll get into questions, okay?
Let's do it.
Looks like Hernan's having issues, so he might not be able to join us today. All right, let's get into it. Pixie Purr I guess I said that right. Hey guys, I wanted to say you are awesome. All right, thank you. I have a question about YouTube videos, local strategy. I want to promote a business/service in an area, and with all the keywords in all the small cities that relevant to it can be almost 100 different videos. Will it be a good idea to have all those videos on one channel, or is it better to make 3 different channels with 30 videos each and maybe do a collaboration with those channels? Hope I explained it good enough. Thanks in advance, Stephen. Okay. You know, it's up. It really depends on like what kind of tools you're using and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it really does, because obviously the safest way to do it would be to have one video on 100 different channels, if that makes sense. And the reason why I say that is because when you're spamming, which is essentially what you're doing. I mean, even if it's a decent, like even if it's a good video, it could be a high quality video, but if you're using the same video for multiple, you know, just targeting multiple keywords, it's essentially spamming. Okay. I know people sometimes think there's a negative connotation with the word spamming, but that's exactly what it is. Right. And so when you're spamming, it's super important that to try to mitigate, you know, having your entire asset, your project, your campaign terminated if your account gets shut down, or if your channel gets terminated or slapped or whatever, which can happen, right? Especially when you're using this, essentially the same video over and over and over again within that one channel. So, but I know that's not really feasible for a lot of people. It really depends on the kind of tools that you're using. So what resources do you have? What kind of tools do you have access to? So for example, ABS has a product called Video Marketing Blitz. It's a very powerful, like industrial strength video spamming tool. We use it. We've been using it for about 2 years or a year and a half, forever, however long it's been out. I've got a VA that I train that uses it, like, you know, that's their full-time job, is just to run that tool. And so we'll have like, you know, 60, and at any given time we have between, you know, 40 to 60 or so accounts, YouTube accounts that we're using to spam. And we do that intentionally because, you know, accounts do get terminated from time to time, sometimes more often than others. And so it's best, like if I was going to be targeting 100 videos, I would probably have maybe 2 videos per channel across 50 channels, if that makes sense. However, it's, again, it just depends on what you have access to. Certainly if you're doing it manually, you're not going to want to do that, because it would be too resource intensive and time intensive. So when it, you know, I recommend trying to split it up to whatever you're capable of without it becoming too much work, so that at least like in the example that you gave, Stephen, you said maybe 3 channels with 30 videos on each. If one channel gets terminated, you still got 2 others, right? So you still have 2/3 of your assets still, they're still able to produce for you. So that's why, like I said, it's best to try to split it up as much as you can if it's the same video. Now, if you're going to be using 100 unique videos, which presents a whole nother set of problems, right? Trying to create 100 unique videos. And I don't just mean the file looking unique. I mean like non-spammy, to where it's not basically the same video uploaded to the channel 100 times. Then you could do that, right? You could use one channel potentially if all the videos were unique. But that again, that's probably harder to do than just taking one video and using it across multiple channels. So my recommendation is to split it up as much as you can, only because it will prevent like the loss of your entire campaign if something gets terminated, which is likely to happen when you're spamming. Okay. Does anybody want to comment on that? Or Marco, I guess it's just you.
No, I think that's perfect. Split it up. You never want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Nigel, what's up, Nigel? He's here every week asking a bunch of questions. Good day, gents. Semantic Mastery is the best value in SEO. Hump Day Hangouts, where free actually means free. And when you do pay, you get value. You are appreciated, and thanks for all you do. Well, thanks you, Nigel. We appreciate you coming and engaging every week. Question, of course, what would be the specific strategy to quickly and cheaply rank a video as foot in the door strategy for a prospective local client? HVAC, for example. Would be the specific strategy to quickly and cheaply rank a video. What type of video has the best results? Okay, well, again, the quickest and cheapest way to rank a video is if you have a tool, you know, tools that do that, like poking tools. For example, I use for whenever I'm running a poking campaign myself, I do it using Peter Drew's LiveRank Sniper. It's a really powerful tool that it's really super simple to set up, and you can just let it run in the background of your desktop while you're working on other stuff, or you could set it up on like a laptop if you haven't, let it run all the time. It's entirely up to you, but that's the tool that I personally use when I'm going to poke keywords. And that lets me determine, or helps me identify keywords that I can rank for very easily, because the channels that we're using are not, they're orphaned channels. In other words, they're channels that don't really have a verified entity behind them. They're not connected to really a profile or a persona that we've built out, like what we teach in Syndication Academy with, you know, building out a Web 2.0 ring and all that, the syndication networks and those kind of things help validate the entity. Validate the entity. Very, very important for like branded properties and things that you're trying to SEO. But when we're doing spam testing or poking, as it's called, we just use like straight up YouTube channels that aren't connected to anything else. They don't have syndication networks or whatever. And we go out and we test keywords, and whatever shows up on page 1, and some people like to look and scrape whatever shows up on page 2 as well. But typically I just look at only the keywords that land on page 1 that were uploaded, or with Live Rank Sniper, it's not even an uploaded video. It's just a scheduled live event. Then whatever shows up on page 1 that was created from a channel that has no connection to anything else on the web. So it's an orphan channel. That means it's likely that you're going to be able to rank. Obviously, if you can rank with a channel that doesn't have a connection to anything on the web, then if you do have a money channel, so to speak, with you know, a syndication network around it, it's got a brand to it, everything else is perhaps aged a bit, that kind of stuff, then you ought to be able to crush those keywords that you identified earlier, right? Because now you have like an actual entity that you're uploading these videos to target the same keywords that you've already identified as being able to rank without having additional SEO work done, if that makes sense. So, you know, when it comes to what is the quickest and cheapest way, use a tool. If you have a VA, that's going to be even better, because that frees you up from the time from having to do it yourself. So I mentioned another tool earlier called Video Marketing Blitz, and that's a different kind of tool, because it actually uploads to channels as opposed to just doing scheduled live events. And so when I've got like hundreds of keywords to test, then I send that over to my VA that runs Video Marketing Blitz for me, because I'll have him do the project instead of me, because you know, first of all, he does it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So he's very proficient with the tool. He's very efficient. You know what I mean? He can run it very quickly. But second of all, it frees me up from the time. And then he just spits me back out the reports. Like he'll send me a Google sheet or an Excel file that has all of the keywords that ranked and the video URLs and now I can just go duplicate that campaign in money channels. And I know that I'm going to have videos that are going to rank and stick, because they're from, you know, basically money channels that have been aged and connected properly and all that kind of stuff. So when it comes down to the cheapest and best way, just use a tool that will help to identify. And then once you've identified keywords that you can rank for easily, then you just go more the traditional route and upload videos or live stream videos to channels that do have syndication networks and are a bit aged and branded and all that kind of stuff. If that makes sense. Okay. What type of video has the best result? It's going to depend on each market. You said HVAC as an example. You know, I've tested all different kinds of videos, and they're none as far as like for lead generation, guys, videos don't produce the best leads, or like not nearly as many leads, like the volume of leads as like a maps listing does, right? You can still generate leads from videos, there's no doubt, but it doesn't, at least in my experience with the contractor type stuff, they don't generate nearly as many leads as if you were to rank like a Google My Business listing. However, you know, I've tested the explainer videos, like the hand-drawn explainer videos. I've tested like the Powtoon type, like animated type videos. And I've also tested spokesmodels videos that I've had like people from Fiverr do. And then I've tested some of my own. And then obviously like slideshows and things like that. And really, it's really going to depend on the market. I found that it doesn't really make much difference. I think the slideshows are probably some of the easiest to produce, that can still produce good leads, because you can show like images of HVAC work being done with a call to action that's always present. So in other words, you can create an overlay, a text overlay that you add to the video file before you upload it or live stream it or whatever you're going to do, that always has the call to action on it. Like, you know, call for free estimates or free repair estimates or whatever. And it's got the phone number and then even perhaps a website URL in it. You know, if you got a redirect URL or whatever you're doing. So that way that it's always present on the video and people don't have to search for the contact information. They see it at all times, if that makes sense. Okay. So again, as far as like, I wish I had a really good, like definitive answer for you on which type of video works best. In my experience, it really doesn't matter. I've tested various forms and they all seem to work, you know, fairly well. Okay. How to get the quickest, lowest cost results when starting out and realistic sticking power maintenance afterwards. Again, I try to identify the keywords that rank easy before running a campaign. And then I run a campaign with the money channels. And typically because they ranked easy with like orphaned channels, which are just poking channels or testing channels, then they generally stick a hell of a lot longer, if that makes sense. If you do it through you know, once you go back and target those same keywords with established channels. Okay. So you really don't have to do near as much work. As far as if you need to maintain a ranking, there's two things that I found produce the best stickability, right? That help them to stick the longest and maintain their rankings. Traffic and embeds. And we've got the Video Powerhouse Network, which is incredibly powerful, that works really, really well. And then also, and when I say traffic, I just mean engagement, period, which could be traffic. It could be comments and likes and, you know, subscriptions and things like that. But, you know, try not to buy spam comments and views and stuff like that. That shit doesn't work anymore. It's got to be like real. And I've talked many times about this, guys, but setting up YouTube ads with, you know, especially if you're doing local stuff, if you set up YouTube ads and drive views to the video from a very set geographic area in your targeting options, you set up your geolocations, right? You can set up very specific areas so that the only views that you get come from local IPs. And that's certainly powerful for ranking videos, even in Google, right? And you're buying views from locally, from local people that are like from real people that live within your target area. So it's coming from local IPs, and it's incredibly powerful for ranking and helping videos to stick. In fact, a lot of the video SEO that I do for like the video production company, I pretty much only do two things. I upload, or three things, whenever I get a new work order from the video production company. So if they sell another video to a client, and then they sell the upsell is the Google Boost program, is what they call it, or the Video Boost program. They couldn't call it the Google Boost anyways. They send me the work order, and then all I do is upload the video that they produced, or actually I live stream it through one of my channels that has, you know, dozens of networks attached to it. And then I set up a YouTube ad, an AdWords for video ad with the specific targeting options. And then I also submit it to Video Powerhouse. And that's all I do now for them. And like those three things get those videos to rank almost 100% of the time, right? And so, and it just works really good. Every now and then, well, usually the YouTube ads alone will keep it maintained. Here's the thing, guys. I set up the YouTube ad with about $1. Like I charge $100 per month per keyword for that video production company, because I'm selling them wholesale video SEO services. Then they sell it retail to their clients or their customers, right? And so I know that seems very, very inexpensive. But like I said, all I do is those three things. They send me the video file, I upload it to my channel that has dozens of networks. It's a themed network or themed channel. It's aged. It's been boosted with a shit ton of backlinks over the years. So that in itself usually will rank it. And then I set up the YouTube ad immediately, and I set it up at $1 a day to start. And I set up targeting options using the in-market audiences as an in-stream video so that it's a pre-roll ad. It shows before other people's videos. I set up my geographic targeting, and I set it up for $1 a day. And I only do that for about a week. And then I back it down to 50 cents per day, which means it costs me $15 per month to be buying local clicks and views from people that are in that particular market, right? From the in-market audiences. So they have a history of being in that market. So it's completely relevant traffic from local IPs. And that usually helps it to rank and stay ranked. And then, like I said, every now and then, if I need a boost, I just go to Video Powerhouse and do a 50 embed blast per video. And I drip that out over 14 days. And that's my process. I just gave you guys my process. And it works really, really well. So anyways, I spent a lot of time on that. I'm sorry about that. But those are great questions, Nigel. Is there any benefit to add Google Voice numbers to accounts for recovery verification? Is effort worth the time and expense? Does it add value to get accounts banned? Good luck with that. For some reason, and it might be that my IP has been flagged for, like, I don't have problems creating new Google accounts for my IP guys, but I can't create new Google Voice accounts. Even like with a new Google Gmail account that I set up, I can't get Google Voice accounts to set up on from my my PC anymore. It never works. So good luck with that. You know, I'm not sure how adding Google Voice numbers would help. You could try it though, Nigel. I don't have a definitive answer for you, only because I can't even get access to Google Voice numbers anymore. I have a few that I set up originally, and I just can't get any new ones to set up on my PC. So
for recovery, it's not necessary because you use the same number over and over and over again. I mean, we've used it for when we buy those 100 phone verified accounts. We flip out the phone number and we'll use the same phone number for that 100 account set. Now for verification,
big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally different. I don't know how Google will take that, using a Google Voice number. But I mean, the way we do it is we have people in the Philippines, or we have the guys just get us phone verified accounts.
Yeah.
Right. They do the verification. Then in the recovery we do two things: flip out the phone number and flip out the recovery email address, and it's done. You can go ahead and do what you want to do, because that takes care of everything.
Yep. So just so you guys know, I post kind of frequently the two providers that I've been buying accounts from. And I got to say that I just bought another batch from this guy. And actually in the last 2 weeks, I've bought 2 sets of 100 accounts, 100 phone verified YouTube accounts. And the quality that I got from this guy, bulkpva.com, was way over and above what the last provider was that I've also been buying from. And so I'm not trying to alienate anybody, but I had some issues with the last batch that I bought from the other provider that I've suggested recently, where about half of the accounts got IP locked. And, and in looking at the usernames and the passwords, there were some patterns there, and that's unacceptable in my opinion, because this kind of stuff should not be done. And so anyways, I just ordered 100 accounts from this dude today again, and I got them back, and it was much, much better. There were all unique phone numbers for verification purposes, or the recovery phone numbers, like all unique names, all unique Yahoo email addresses for the recovery email addresses. All the usernames were like valid names instead of just gibberish bullshit. So my point is, I told this dude today I'd give him a shout out on Hump Day Hangouts, bulkpva.com. The accounts, again, I just got them today, so I haven't, or my VA's adding them to the Video Marketing Blitz software. So there may be some issues as he goes through and adds them and sets up the API and all that stuff. But at least from just the first glance at the file with all the account information, it was done very, very well, if that makes sense. So I just want to give a shout out to him. I said I would today. All right. Sam Bailey, I noticed. What's up, Sam? He says, I noticed SERP Space is a PBN domain package. Since those domains will be niche relevant and thoroughly vetted, could they also be used effectively as money sites? I'm thinking affiliate sites. Sure, they could, Sam. Absolutely, they could. Or is it better to stick with a new domain that's never been used? Thank you. Well, for affiliate stuff, it depends. If you're trying to build a brand around that, an affiliate campaign, which I recommend that you always build brands, guys, because brands are assets that can become more than just a singular focus. In other words, a lot of the times when people build affiliate sites, what do they call them? Niche sniper sites, right? Like the sniper type sites, which are like, exact match domains, and they're singularly themed around one particular product or something like that. And you can do that. That's fine. But if you build a brand, the brand can end up covering so much more. In other words, you could target multiple products underneath a brand, right? That you start to build brand authority and identity, and Google loves that, right? That's part of what we teach with Syndication Academy and the drive stacks and all the stuff that we do, right? So I always recommend building a brand. However, there is a bit of a shortcut if you have a powerful domain, or at least topically relevant that has some metrics. It's better than starting from scratch or from zero if you're trying to get some quick wins. So it's entirely up to you. And by the way, you could use a domain that has like that's unrelated and still create a brand. Like I don't mean unrelated topically. I mean like whatever the domain, letters or words are, don't have to match whatever your brand is, but it would just make sense to do that. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to have, samsproducts.com or something like that, and you wanted to have a brand around Sam's Products, it would make sense to have a domain like that instead of something that really seems unrelated, if that makes sense. Okay. But you can decide on what you want to do. I mean, I prefer to go with new domains. I like to use domains that when I did a lot of PBN stuff, and we're still doing some stuff with them, with those types of domains, guys. I like to use those to help support a new site that I build. I don't typically build on expired domains unless they're for supporting sites for a project that I'm working on, but it absolutely does still work. Okay.
I agree with you. If I can just add totally on branding. And guys, because it's right in front of you right now. Yahoo, Google. I mean, think about it. Facebook, and think of the things that become the actual product, like Xerox, back in the day, or even now, Band-Aid, Jello. Things that become the actual product when it's not. It's gelatin, right? Jello, and it's an adhesive. Now I can't remember, but a Band-Aid. We don't know what the fuck that is. So if you create that unique value proposition from the beginning, and that's how you approach it, and you approach branding, so that the keywords they get
associated with the brand,
with the brand, then you win. I mean, Amazon. It started out as a bookstore, but we all know what the Amazon is, right? It's a rainforest, but they made it a bookstore. I just think in those terms, and then you go after, as you just said, associating those keywords with the brand, and you'll do so much better because so many things can fit under that brand umbrella that they can't under that exact match domain.
Right. My point exactly. So, okay, next, Quit This House says, thanks you guys for all the help you give us here. Now that Google will be transitioning the Google URL shortener. Yeah, guys, in case you were unaware of that, I posted it in the mastermind, but the Google URL shortener, it's official. It's on the Google's blog. They are shutting that down either later this year. Yeah, I think later this year or whatever. I think it's in August or something like that. You can go search for it on Google. You'll find the article. But anyways, they provided what they call Firebase dynamic links. That's what Google is switching over to, which is part of their, one of their properties, obviously. So he says, what the heck is Firebase dynamic link, and will it be good for us marketers, or should we use Bitly or Owly and call it a day? So Marco, you've already done some research on this. What do you say?
April 19th is when you will no longer have access. And if you've never created a short link before March 30th, you can't anymore. You have to have an account that has created a short link. You will, if you've done that, then you could use it for at least another year until March 30th of 2019.
Okay.
Right. So, but if you go in there, it'll tell you. If you could just go goo.gl, goo.gl, you'll see the message, and you know exactly what it is. As far as Bitly or Owly, except they moved it inside. You no longer have anonymous access to Owly. You have to have an account in Hootsuite to actually be able to use Owly. Bitly sometimes turns into a 302.
Yeah, they suck.
Your links will turn into spam for whatever reason, or they'll be considered spam and they'll 302 them and they'll lose the value. Firebase dynamic links are fabulous. I'm in there playing, but the links are butt ugly. Except that since they're dynamic, they'll go to the app, they'll go to desktop, they'll go wherever it is that they're intended to go. It's right now it's a 302, unless you can figure out, like I did, how to 301.
There you go. There's something to be said for also kind of setting up your own link shortener and starting to build your own authority to your own link shortener. And there's ways to do that too. So, all right, moving on. Ralph says, hey guys, I have a client with a seemingly difficult key phrase to get on the page one. It is, I replaced the two keywords with keyword. Okay. So it's, whatever, Minneapolis, Minnesota. When I search for this using a private window, we end up as number 10 on page 2. However, if I put quotes around it, we are on page 1, plus it's in the Maps Pak. Yeah, because that's called phrase match. So that makes sense because you're optimized for that phrase. When you do a phrase match search, you're going to come up for that because you're well optimized for that phrase. If that makes sense. But a broad match, that's going to be different. It's not very difficult to rank for phrase match most of the time. It is difficult to match broad match, though. It can be. So he says, I've done the first column of a silo on the website, solid the videos together, even have 3 levels of IFTTT put together, but still cannot seem to move the website up to page 1 for this key phrase. To add another detail, client has 7 5-star reviews compared to his competition of 87 5-star reviews. Would that make a difference? Yes, Ralph. I see an absolute correlation between reviews and local ranking now. In fact, it's like, and again, it has to do a lot with the engagement with the Google My Business, the verified Google My Business profile, guys. Think about that. The more, and that's what our local GMB Pro course that Marco and Rob and I are working on right now is specifically showing how to rank in Google, a Google verified business, Google My Business verified profile, getting it to rank at Maps entirely within the Google My Business dashboard, meaning it doesn't need any external stuff at all. It can be done entirely from just within the Google My Business dashboard because you're using all of Google's tools and providing engagement within that specific environment, which Google rewards that kind of stuff. And so, guys, I never was a believer of like the whole reputation marketing thing for my entire career up until within the last like 6 months because of the shift that I've seen and how much of an impact reputation marketing really truly does have on local marketing now. It didn't used to as much, at least I didn't see it as much. It wasn't enough of an impact before for me to go and start, incorporating reputation marketing in with my SEO services. But now it's standard operating procedure. Reputation marketing is now part of what I offer as my SEO services because I see without a doubt how much of an impact it has on local rankings. So, 87 5-star reviews versus 7. Now, I'm not saying that's the only factor. There's probably multiple other factors, as I see you mention here further on down. He says, what the heck? Please help me. I cannot afford to lose more hair. Okay, I'll stop and take a deep breath now. Edit addition. I have noticed that one of our main competitors everywhere on every type of keyword search I try, always on page 1, the company with 87 5-star reviews, they also have pages on their site for almost every suburb. That's part of the reason they're probably doing better too, right? There's multiple factors there, Ralph. 1, they've got more reviews. 2, they've got a site that is showing much more relevancy because it's got many more pages on there that are optimized and also for both keywords as well, so products and services, as well as the location, right? And so that's just building the overall relevancy of the site, both geographically and topically. If that makes sense. So there's a lot. Remember, they're probably a much more established business, like been around longer. They've obviously been doing SEO longer or had an SEO agency doing it for them for longer. So you can't expect to just come in and, overtake something like that with, one silo and a few blog posts and a couple syndication networks. It's going to take some time. And obviously the more competitive they are, the more established they have been, it's going to take more time and more effort on your part. One thing I recommend is that if you follow along the Syndication Academy, make sure that you're blogging consistently, properly, that you're linking up from within the content, with contextual links from within the blog post up to the pages that you're trying to rank. Make sure your silo architecture is right. Your internal linking structure is right. Also, drive stacks would help. Press releases absolutely help. If you're not aware, we just launched a course called Local PR Pro, where we've ranked even some of the most horrid and god-awful sites, like one-page sites that have no business ranking. We've ranked them in the Maps 3-pack with one freaking press release. Those results aren't typical, but it happens. And so press releases are incredibly powerful for ranking locally as well. Okay. And again, we cover all that in that course.
This is where I have to mention Jeffrey Smith and the SEO bootcamp, because one of the first things that he goes into is market recon. You have to know who you're up against. You have to know what they're doing. You have to know exactly what it is that they're doing and what they've done, so that you can go in and do what they do. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, and then do them one better. And so you know that they're doing all these things. So if you follow Jeffrey's training, he'll tell you, he'll give you a way to plan out your whole strategy on how you're going to take these fuckers down, simply by using, first of all, the correct silo architecture, interlinking. That deep link juggernaut is a beast.
Yeah.
On his plugin, he teaches you how to use it. He teaches you how to do the keyword research. I mean, just everything that you need to take down your competition is in Ultimate SEO Bootcamp. And so if you don't have it, and this is really important for you to take down, if this client is that important, then I suggest that you make the investment. We still have a back door, I think. I don't have the link handy. I'll have to dig it up, but I suggest that you jump in there. That, and then you run a couple of press releases at the GMB that's linked to the website, so all the juice is going to flow, and then spread throughout your interlinked pages and your properly siloed pages. And I don't see why you can't take those. Fuck them and their 87 5-star reviews.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing, guys. Like, if you have the on-page right, you can do so much more with like such little off-page work. And what off-page work you do when your website is structured correctly will have so much more of an effect. So for example, if you had like, your on-page was done really, really well, you could rank with a fraction of the off-page work that it would take somebody that had a site that might not be, that's more like a typical or traditional site that's flat, no silo architecture, all that kind of stuff. They would need 3, 4, 5 times as much off-page work. So again, on-page is incredibly important. And yeah, Jeffrey's course, SEO Bootcamp, is about the best there is for that. Okay. Muhammad's up. Muhammad, what's up, buddy? He's back into the mastermind. It's awesome. He says, hey guys, after a short break, I'm back. The video emails. What's the best way to get a prospect without a phone number? Almost every realtor has their cell phone number online, but some have their brokerage number instead, either because of rules or plain ignorance. This means the only way to reach them is to email. So if they open and read my email without clicking the video, I can't call them like I usually do. I call the brokerage, but the secretary just takes a message and they don't call back. So I think the best course is to take is to improve the email front. What can I do to make them click the video? Just keep resending it. Okay, so I run in that problem sometimes. I don't, well, it depends. If I'm doing the video lead gen system where I'm doing like a target, like I've already audited their site or something like that, then yeah, I'll try resending it maybe from multiple addresses. Like, I don't spam them to death, guys, but I might send, I have many email aliases set up, and I do all of my prospecting emails through G Suite. So I set up domain emails that I connect through Google Apps or G Suite. And I do all of my emailing from there, or I use services that connect through G Suite. Like, for example, quickmail.io. I'm also testing, I'm testing a desktop software right now too, called Atomic Mailer, Atomic Mail Sender or something like that. But anyways, that's another conversation. So my point is, you can set up aliases with a G Suite account, just multiple domain emails essentially. And so you could try that. Also, Mohammed, I know you're aware of, if you create either a mock video image or use a GIF of the video, like so it's an animated GIF from the video, that makes sure that it's showing one of their properties. And with realtors, pretty much everything that a realtor has for their marketing has their damn face on it. They always do. I don't know of any realtor marketing that doesn't have their face on it. So just find something that has their face on it and make sure that's visible in the video image or the GIF, right? Because a lot of times that will, and remember, if you've sent it a couple times and they haven't opened it, change that GIF image to something else, or the mock video image, however you set it up, change it to something else, but also that is their property, because that will entice the click. And again, I love your persistence, but you obviously have more of a threshold than I do, because I'll try a few times and then I'll move on to the next one, because if it's that difficult, maybe there's a good reward there, but a lot of the times, if they're that stubborn, then they generally turn out to be a pain in the ass to work with too. Okay, but that's up to you. I know you're a very persistent guy, so keep at it. All right, just try different emails, perhaps different. If you're getting them to open it but just not click the video, then again, your call to action, whatever it is that your whatever message it is that you're trying to convey to them, to compel them to click the video, change your call to action up. So you're going to have to test those, and then also test either the mock video image or GIF images, swap them out to where, because again, if you're trying the same video over and over again with the same image and it's not getting clicked, switch that up. It's just like split testing an ad, guys. It's the same thing. You're split testing emails. right? You're split testing copy, subject lines, video, thumbnail images or GIFs or mock video images. You can split test CTAs, calls to action, all of that. All right. Gordon, hey guys, thanks again for the help you provided. Is much appreciated. I will +1 that. Regarding a local lead gen site, if I understand correctly, it helps ranking a lot if you add fresh content regularly. So is it best to create a blog on the site or add a new page for each new article? No, Gordon, add a blog. Because, yeah, I mean, remember, that's what a blog is for. A blog is for kind of like dynamic content that's updated with, refreshed regularly. In other words, you're adding new content to a blog regularly. Pages are more static in nature, right? And you're right. If you add new content as pages, remember, you got to think about what the purpose of the content is. So usually for pages, especially for like local stuff, I have products and service pages, right? And maybe a location page and an about page, the standard stuff. But then there's product and location pages. But then I use the blog to talk about, industry related stuff, locally related stuff. And then always within the blog post, you link up to the pages that you're trying to promote or rank on the site, that you're trying to push traffic to, that you're trying to rank in Google, all that kind of stuff. So you use the blog as a link building tool to help boost the pages on the site. The pages on the site are typically the things that you're going to have the calls to action, the lead capture forms, phone numbers, things like that. So the blog posts are just content to help reinforce, build the relevancy of the site, right? And then also as a linking opportunity to link up to your pages, which you want to rank in Google, right? Or wherever. Plus there's traffic potential there too. Okay. So yeah, just use a blog. And the reason why is because remember, if you're using a blog and you set up syndication networks, you can use the RSS feed to trigger automatically. So you don't have to do anything. You just publish content and it will automatically syndicate out and do your link building, at least part of your link building for you. Right. That's the whole point of the syndication networks.
If he's not already in it, he can join Syndication Academy and everything is explained over the shoulder in videos on how to do exactly what you explained.
Yes, that's correct. What is a recommended frequency to add new content to a site like that? It depends on the industry, Gordon. Like for example, roofing company I've got a few roofing clients and, we blog once or twice a week, which is actually a little bit more than, probably a lot of other roofers do. So, I mean, my point is like, if you're in the tech industry, like, you might be blogging 3-4 blog posts per day. But if you're in like home improvement stuff, like who wants to read about, roofing stuff? Or so a lot of times, what do you do for those kind of topics too, by the way? You can back it up, like go a little bit broader and just talk about general home improvement stuff. You can also talk about local news related stuff. So community related stuff for that particular business. So it's up to you. Obviously, the more frequently you post, the quicker you can get results. But there also comes a point in time where it becomes difficult to generate content without just like literally spamming your own site because you're trying to create more blog posts. So I recommend, like for all of my clients, I try to tell them, because, content marketing is part of my SEO package. It's all one and the same. So is reputation marketing now, like they're all combined. And so for my clients, I try to get every one of them on at least 1 post per week. I have some clients that we do as many as 3 posts per week. And I don't have any clients more than that. So it's usually, some clients only have 1 post every 2 weeks, and that's because they didn't want to spend the money. But for all of my clients, it's at least 1 post per week. And most of them are around 2 or even 3 posts per week. Okay. And by the way, that's like all I do to keep my clients ranked. I mean, I have to do a lot to get them to rank, typically, not all the time, but typically once I get them to rank, it's usually just a steady stream of new citations every month. And then blog posting, just the consistent blog posting every week. And that just keeps them ranked. And it's funny, but when you stop the blog posting, and I do this with my lead gen sites, I blog on my lead gen sites until they rank. And then once they rank, we stop because that's just an expense to me. Sometimes within a few weeks or sometimes longer, they start to slip. And so we'll start blogging again, and it kind of gives that activity back up and boosts them again. There's things you can do, like set up, Twitter applets in IFTTT that can help you to like add content on autopilot to your Google Plus page, which still is connected to the Google My Business profile on the back end a bit. And so there's all kinds of stuff you can do to kind of auto produce content in a relatively good way. But blogging is one of the best ways to do it because you control that content. Okay. Brian's up. He says, I have asked a question about writing meta tags in Spanish for a Spanish site in the US. Does it make sense to include English pages, same content on the site as separate pages? Will I get hit for duplicate content for both English and Spanish? Thanks. I don't know about on the same domain, but I know that Marco could probably answer this, but I know like I've done it with English sites where I put an es.subdomain and basically cloned the site and had a plugin that just, it was called the Transposh plugin actually, but it would create various and actually I think that worked on the same domain level, but it would create various like language versions of the same page. So you might want to check into that. But Marco, what do you think about that?
I'd say if the main site is in Spanish, then add an English subdomain, en.whateversite.com. And they just offer, you put the 2 flags up on your homepage so that people know, oh, I want it in English, and they'll just click on the flag. People understand that.
There you go. Guys, go check it out. It's transposh.org or go to the wordpress.org plugin repository and search for Transposh, and you can go play with this. Looks like it's got 12 one-star reviews. I've played with it. I've got it on some of my tree service sites, especially in the areas where there's a high Spanish-speaking population, Latino population. I've got this installed on there, and it helps. We get calls from to our call center that are in from Spanish-speaking people, and it's obviously because they've landed on the site and they've called in for tree services. So I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research to see how much traffic I get specifically to those pages because I really don't care. I've just installed it as a kind of a test, and a couple of years ago I really haven't done any follow-up, but this is one of the plugins that will do that for you. Okay. It looks like it hasn't been updated in a while though, so you might want to find an alternative.
You can use WordPress multi-language, but it's a pain in the ass. I hate it. I hate that plugin. I don't know if I haven't used it in years because I hate it. But
yeah.
You can try it and see. But just a subdomain, man, and translate it. Have someone translate it for you. It doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, I think there was something through the grapevine that we may be. I don't know. Can we talk about that?
Well, I don't know. Isn't that going to be limited to a select few?
Yeah, but there's I don't know. We may be doing some bilingual stuff here coming up, guys. We may be able to talk about it at a later date. Anyways, Brian's up. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Brian Costello is up. He says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Brian? How many locations would you put on one lead gen? 3, 6, 9. I usually stop at 3, but I have to begin to ask why. I would like to save time and money from launching new sites, etc. Do you guys have any experience with this? If you mean like location pages on one domain, that's up to you and what your risk aversion is, right? Like what is your risk tolerance, right? That's up to you. Like the reason I like to do subdomains, for example, if I've got one lead gen, a service provider for a lead gen asset, let's say I want to expand them into 12 locations. So I'm going to go set up 12 Google My Business profiles. I'm going to set up a subdomain for each location. And I'm going to do that specifically because in case any one of those accounts gets terminated for spam or because it was a PO box or whatever, it won't affect the other properties. If you have it all on the root domain and and Brian, you know this, if it gets a penalty, it's going to affect all of the locations because you just have location pages on that domain. So I understand wanting to save money and be more efficient with the setup and being able to do it all underneath one domain. If that's what you mean, Brian. But again, I always try to mitigate or reduce my risk significantly by separating my assets on individual subdomains. And that's only because I don't want to lose. Again, this is just like I was talking about the very first question on Hump Day Hangouts today with the video spam questions about 100 videos on one channel or 30 videos on 3 channels, right? It's up to you. If you lose one channel with 100 videos, you've lost your entire campaign. If you lose one channel that has 30 videos and you still got 2 other channels with 60 videos, right? Then you've lost 1/3 of your campaign. If you've got 50 channels with 2 videos per, you have to lose a lot of damn channels to have a significant impact on your campaign. Does that make sense? So that's the same way I feel about my lead gen stuff. Like I always try to mitigate my risk. So now once I get over about 12 locations, having individual subdomains does become a management pain in the ass. There's no question. But again, it's depending on, you got to balance what's more important to you. To me, it's protecting my assets, right? So It's up to you. What is your tolerance level? Walt's up. We got about 10 minutes, guys. He says, this question is from the YouTube channel chat. Thought I would put over here. You can thank me later. Brian, what are your thoughts about working with new businesses that have no idea what they are doing? Do you bother trying to teach them how to market their business online, or do you just move on? My answer, if you can bill them for your training time, which you should, then go for it. You'll be a hero in their mind. Otherwise, just move on. Yeah, that's not a, I mean, Walt, I agree with you. In part, there's nothing wrong with your answer. Absolutely. Guys, it's obviously going to, this is just my opinion, but what I do with my video email stuff, when I pitch a prospect, I give a video email and I explain everything in a video email to explain what it is that I would do and why it's important for their business. And that pretty much explains everything. And I do that all at once. Like, again, the last client that I landed about 3 weeks ago was a cab company, a taxi cab company. Not something I've ever done before, SEO for a cab company. But he was a client. He was a referral from an old client that's not a client anymore, but still a referral. And so I put together a video doing the same process that Video Lead Gen System I shared in Video Lead Gen System, guys. It's the exact same process. I still use it now. I've been using it for 6 years. And I created basically an audit video and a proposal, like a pitch video. It was all in one. The video went 45 minutes long. I know that's incredibly long, but the guy got 22 minutes into the video and he called me and he said, I'm watching your video right now. I didn't even get to the end. I'm signing up. You know, how do I pay you? I'm not kidding. And that's the typical kind of response that I get, because I'm able to educate the people with the video that I send them via email, explaining what products and service I have and why it's important to their business. And I go, and I just overwhelm them with value, and to where they're like, damn, this guy knows what he's doing. Nobody's ever explained it to me this way. And so therefore, yeah, I'm ready to sign. And again, I got about an 80% closing ratio once the conversation is started. That's the hardest part, right? It's getting the hard, in my opinion, is getting the conversation started. So that's, again, I don't typically bill for that because that's on the proposal side of stuff. I obviously don't bill for that. Now, if a client hires me for something and then they want to add on additional services and they've got, you know, and they've got to be trained on stuff, then that's different. I may charge them time and material, you know, labor basically for that. Or it might be just built into their proposal price or whatever. Okay. But again, I do a lot of the education on the front end, on the prospecting side with my video email system. Okay. It works really well for me. But again, guys, everybody's going to have their own techniques and methods. I'm just telling you what's worked for me for 6 years. It still works to this day. Again, I just landed a client about 3 weeks ago that way. Exact same way. All right.
I would say that if they're going to pay for education and somebody else is going to do the SEO, then he should definitely charge as a consultant. You can charge,
yeah, absolutely.
You can charge
I
higher
thought if he was the provider, though, is what I meant.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing this another way, right? Do you bother teaching them? Yes, of course. But you talk them into more of a consultation type thing than taking them on as a client. If you're taking them on as a client, then, I mean, you educate them up to a point. You know, you tell them what it is that you're going to do, but you don't tell them how you're going to do it. I mean, we've covered this before. You don't tell a doctor how to operate on you. And your client shouldn't be telling you how to rank them. If they could do it, then they should be doing it.
Right.
So there's two ways to get paid here that I'm seeing. If they want to be educated, fine, charge for your time. If they want results, then fine, charge for results.
That's right. I agree with that. And there has been times where somebody said, look, could you provide us with training that we could have somebody in-house do, like social media posting, for example? And I said, yeah, that's no problem. Here's what I'm going to charge to do it, you know. And that's what, you know, I might say, you know, all right, I'll create a training video, a couple of training videos to show how to, you know, use Hootsuite or Buffer or something like that you can give to your in-house person or your assistant or whatever. And then I might charge them, you know, $100, and it takes me 30 minutes to put the video together or something like that. Guys, that's absolutely, again, that's just consultation. You should be billing for that, yes. But what I was talking about specifically was like on the front end, if they're talking to me about being a potential service provider for them, as far as like, you know, marketing services, but they need to be educated on what they need and why they need it. Again, just like Marco said, I don't tell them the how, not the specific details, maybe kind of a broad explanation, a broad definition of how, but I tell them why they need it, like what it is that I'm proposing and why it would be good for their business. And then the how is usually left more like, hey, that's kind of more proprietary, you know? So, all right, Jordan, silo related question. Have a new client who is an apartment mover in Dallas, Fort Worth. Obviously, the two large search volume keywords are apartment mover Dallas and apartment mover Fort Worth, but we wanted to catch suburbs too. So question, create option number 1, an apartment mover Dallas page, 2,000 words. Also an apartment mover Fort Worth page, 2,000 different words. Also an apartment mover generic with links at the bottom of page to service areas with links to each suburb, or option, I'm getting an ice cream headache. Or only create one apartment mover page with Dallas, Fort Worth, and all suburbs under the service area links at the bottom of the page. Don't mind the extra writing of having the actual apartment mover Dallas page present. That's a good one, Jordan. That's difficult. That's difficult because those are two highly competitive areas. So, you know, and Jeffrey Smith, when we did the last webinar we did with him for SEO Bootcamp, he agreed with me in that one of the ways to overcome having kind of like what would be considered almost duplicate content on the same domain. Remember, guys, it used to be we would optimize a specific page on the site for every location, right? So it would be, and so like, let's say tree services, right? Tree services, let's say tree removal. That's one of the sub keywords. It's the second most searched keyword. So tree removal. Let's say I had 5 locations I was trying to target for that service area for that client. I would end up, it used to be, I would have 5 separate pages all targeting tree removal plus city, each different city name, right? But that's borderline duplicate content. Even if it's unique content on each page, it's just unnecessary. It used to work really, really well, and it probably still works now. But it seems better now to create like a service page explaining what the tree removal services are, which I would call like cornerstone content or something like that, right? That's a big article. It's well optimized. It's split up, good section headers, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then link over to a service area or locations page, which then would have information about each different location. And so you could have an individual location page for each location that just gives a brief description of the area and then mentions, and, you know, we provide tree removal services in this location as well. Does that make sense? And having it, because Google understands the difference, guys, between like a topical silo and like location pages on a site. Google's smart, the algorithm is smart enough to understand that. So you can actually create an association between your product or service pages with the location pages just through the internal links. And although we talk about not bleeding silos, and that would essentially be bleeding silos because you have your products and service silos and then you have your locations silos, because Google understands the difference in those two, like what the purpose of those verticals or silos are, it's okay. And I've seen good results that way. Now, in your particular case, because you're talking about 2 very competitive areas that are relatively close in proximity to, I'm not sure what the best option would be for you. That's a good one. That would be a great question for Jeffrey Smith, actually. So unfortunately, I can't give you a definitive answer on there. I would probably still, again, try to go with more of a really well-written service page that links out to the two separate location pages that provide that service, right? And then so essentially you would be linking to the 2. We provide the tree removal service, and I'm just using that because that was my example. But tree removals in Dallas and also Fort Worth, and you link to those 2 location pages. On those location pages, you talk about a little bit of just some brief snippet or whatever about the areas, and we provide tree removal services and blah 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 in these, and then you link back to the service page. Does that make sense? It's like a reciprocal link between the service and the locations pages. All right, we got to wrap it up. Should we answer any more particular? Do you see anything we should answer, Marco? It looks like we're almost done.
Yeah, definitely the next one.
Okay. Jim says, first off, thanks for putting on this free webinar. You're welcome, Jim. My question is regarding Semantic Mastery membership and the smaller products you put out. More than anything, I'm intrigued by products like Local PR Pro, I guess, which you meant video lead gen, etc. You often say that these are included in SM. If I join SM, will I have access to those? Yes. Are they trickled in over time? I plan on using SM, but the smaller products take priority right now. I couldn't find specific information. Okay, now I know we recently changed. Unfortunately, Adam's not here, so because Adam or Hernan would really be the ones to give me a definitive answer. I do not want to steer you in the wrong direction, Jim. All of our products that are under $300 are included in Semantic Mastery membership. Anything that's over $300, you get a 30% discount on. However, like for example, Local PR Pro, that when you join Semantic Mastery, now that price is over $300. So it's not like we're going to charge you for it. You just have to take a specific step in the Facebook group to get access to it. And so we do things like that to find out who's engaged. If people don't request access to it, they're not going to get it. And that's just because it's priced over and above being free right now, if that makes sense, for the mastermind members. So yes, we give out the content. For example, we're doing the 2018 curriculum this year, which is like we're having separate modules where we're covering like a different aspect of building a business, particularly local type market, local marketing type businesses. And so each month or each module ends up getting kind of packaged up and will end up being like a standalone product, really. And so you'll get those kind of every single month that you're a member, you get another one added to your membership area, if that makes sense. But you get all of the archives. There are all of our existing webinar archives as well. Plus you get access to all the biweekly training, the Facebook group and all that, and a lot of other products that we've already got in there that just are kind of grandfathered into the membership. So yes, you will get access to those. But for example, like Video Lead Gen and Local PR Pro, it might be you get Local PR Pro 1 month because you requested it. And in the next month, you request Video Lead Gen System. We open that up for you, if that makes sense. And guys, again, this year, we're going to be every single time, like right now, we're in the prospecting module. We did the PPC module. There's still some updates going into that, but the PPC module was the first part of the year. Right now, we're in the prospecting module. Next, we're moving in the video marketing module. So it's just going to keep on going that way. So every single time you join, you're going to have access to all the live training. But then on the, as far as the actual individual products that get packaged up almost as separate products, you get those unlocked one per month as you request them. So that way you're getting what you need when you need it instead of like a brain dump all at once, which is like overwhelming for anybody. So good question though. Okay, guys, we've got to wrap it up. It's past 5 o'clock. Sorry, we didn't get to all the questions. Got to most of them though. So we appreciate everybody being here. Any closing words, Marco?
Oh, just thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. And YouTube channel, subscribe, guys.
Yeah, please do. All right, guys, we'll see. Oh, by the way, we have Mastermind tomorrow, I think, don't we? Yep, Mastermind webinar tomorrow, guys. So anybody that's in the Mastermind, be there. Got a lot to cover. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.